Yo, 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 what's good, SBP? It's another beautiful Sunday morning. Well, it is where we are anyway. I'm your boy Prime Source. What is good?
What up, though? Like you said, another beautiful morning. Got the sun is shining. I think it's supposed to be a nice day, right? It's supposed to be nice out that giant.
I think I saw in the 70s, something like that. Sun's supposed to be
Can't,
out.
can't knock the hustle, baby.
Lovely out here, over here in the 804. Good morning to everybody, all my people out there. Hope all is well with you. Hope all of you had a great weekend. I know that I have. I'm tired as a dog, but I am. Running around with a bunch of, I guess, 5-year old up to about 70-year-old geeks at a comic book con, Galaxy Con here in Richmond. I walked and stomped them floors in them exhibition halls for probably about 6.5 hours yesterday. And I realized, you're getting old when your legs feel a little different in the morning than they used to when you do that.
Feel a little wobbly leg.
Yeah, back in the day, I could go bust the whole 3-day joint. You're here for 3 days, so you can get like 3-day passes. I could
Right.
bust a 3-day joint and don't break a sweat, man. Nah, them joints did me, and them knees feel a little different this morning.
Mm. Sorry to hear that, brother. I'm sorry to hear that reality is setting in.
Yeah, I guess it had to happen at some point. So I ain't the only one, but I was talking to a good friend of mine that I met, and I wouldn't be any guess to know his age, but he's definitely older than I am by a few years. And I don't know though, bro, because he was actually acting like he was kind of fine this morning. So
Mm.
I'm like, oh no, bro, what am I doing wrong?
You see, you need to get on the treadmill.
Got to do something, man.
Got to
The
do
gym
something.
membership, that extra money just going to waste. Rick, what's up, man? That money they hit me for every month, the first of the month is going to waste.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I probably walk back up in the gold gym like, bro, you serious?
Mm-hmm.
We taking your money, but you ain't checked in since. Because I'm sure you can see the last time they checked in on that little joint that pops up on their side of the counter, right? When you scan your card or your keychain.
Mm-hmm. They be like, "You okay? You feeling all right? Take that pulse. Let me take your pulse real quick."
Hey, I mean, people. Hey, one thing I did hear this weekend. Matter of fact, one of the guys that used to that doesn't use. He actually works for me. Cat's been getting out there getting a hoop on. Like, so cats can't wait. You know what I'm saying, to get out there and hoop. So and then I even in the SBP for my people in the area, they know I even got we got a Rockwood reference in there. So
Yeah. Ricky Chavez threw that joint up the other day.
there you go, right there.
I was,
Good morning,
I
Rick.
was, I was like, "Is he
Look,
talking to me?"
my guy. Hope you ready for the
See,
night, baby. 7 o'clock. You know what it is.
Rick,
Um,
Rick must be talking to me, because Rick and I used to hoop at
uh-huh.
Rockwood on a regular basis. So I was like, he must be talking to me.
Yeah, everybody been out there. I'm sure every in every town there's that one court that you go out there and you know that you better make the most of while you're on there because it might be 4 or 5 games before you can get back on the court if your squad loses, right?
Yep.
That is crazy. But speaking of basketball, man, March Madness, it is shaping up to be something crazy, something shaping up to be something unlike anything we've seen before, based on one fact that there's zero number one seeds in the Elite Eight for the first time ever. Like, that's crazy. That is crazy. We used to be seeing people get knocked out. We've seen some people get knocked out early, but we have
Right.
no number one seeds as of right now. What you think about all this madness, as we like to call it?
That's what we signed up for. That's what we signed up for. The people couldn't wait for things to go crazy. And I've seen multiple people say this is the best tournament in a long time. So I think the public is definitely enjoying what's going on. My bracket, on the other hand, is not as not that I was gonna win anyway. I don't think I was gonna win, but yeah, I had Houston winning this joint. I think I had
Right.
Houston against Alabama, maybe. Both of them gone. Both of them gone.
As I mentioned, I had 3 brackets. So I did 3 brackets in SPP, then I had a little side joint, but I picked the same teams, right? And all of
Mm,
mine are gone now. So I'll go ahead and put them out there now. So all of them, I have nothing left. And
wow.
I have no money and no bracket. of any kind for the first time probably in a couple of years. Usually, if I win the SBP, I think that a couple of years ago I won the SBP joint. I think I had that joint locked for early too. And then I stunk it up last year, stunk it up even worse this year. But at least I would have something out, a work joint or my homies, something that was tight. I ain't got nothing. Eyes broke. Eyes all that money I gave. Hope y'all enjoy the money I gave everybody that's watching that I just gave away. But my teams that I had, I spread it all bracket. I had Marquette. Houston was the only number 1 seed that I picked. Then the other one was UCLA. That went down to Gonzaga the other night in one of the best games I have seen in quite a while. And I almost felt like we were robbed to an extent because we're used to history and things happening in this type of way. At least the Elite Eight or the Final Four. I mean, like the Final Four. I'm like, if I could have got a Gonzaga, if it was some kind of way the brackets would have lined up, we could, but we getting these matches early. But I was broke. I has nothing,
bro. Well, as you mentioned, the SBP contest, it was 40 people in the contest. Going into Saturday, I think after Friday, there were 5 people whose team that they picked to win the championship was still in it. Just 5 people had a champion still left. As of last night, only 3 people have a champion. One of them is in first place. The person in first place actually has UConn. Whoa. And then there are 2 people that have Texas. That's it. Everybody else is.
Hey, Jeff, good morning. Tim, good morning. Hope you're ready for 7 o'clock this evening, brother. Those of you keep me hear me reference 7 o'clock this evening. It is the official SBP Fantasy Baseball League. We draft tonight at 7.
So, I thought you were talking about LSU.
Huh?
I thought you were talking about Angel Reese and them.
Oh, no, we're going to mention them here in a minute. But, the TV is going to be on while all this is going on. You feel me? But we got baseball. We actually, I think we ended up with 9 last year. We've got 12 going strong. So everybody should be in the mix. One member told me he's going to be a little bit late jumping in because it's birthday time. He has some special things going on. But hopefully he goes in at least, cues his players. So that way, hopefully, if they're available when his time comes up before he gets in there, that he can get where he want to get. But that's crazy. We talking all this basketball, and just to think, what are we about 5 days away? I think away from opening day in the MLB, which is another beautiful thing in itself. I want to give a shout out to Andre Carly though, because if you haven't checked, Andre Carly been out there at them spring games, bro. He ready. He been out there the whole weekend out there in Florida doing his thing. With his crew. So I know he ready, man. He posting pictures of 2 things that I love: baseball and beer. So shout out to him, and I know he's ready for the night. So we gotta be putting this thing together. So shout out to everybody. Let's get it. But basketball, back to basketball, man. Improbable. We mentioned some of the runs that these people are on. You mentioned UConn, and what I'm figuring out is we got a ton of UConn fans in the group. It was people, men's UConn, for the men's team. Some people in there I didn't realize that went that hard, but I'm glad to see it. I'm glad to see it. They hype. Their people are straight taking no prisoners in this tournament. They not just they just not out here winning games, man. UConn is out this bad boy, busting people in the head. This kind of feels like, and I don't want to jinx them. I really do not want to jinx them because I love what they're doing. But this is shaping up to be kind of like some of them improbable runs, that we've seen, over the years. We can go back to what was like 2016. Syracuse went on a run. We know UCLA is a perennial power, but a lot of people didn't see them making the run they did in just a couple of years ago. You can go way back to '85 with Villanova. I don't want to jinx UConn, man, but they busting people in the head, bro.
Yeah, they did their thing last night. Heavier. It was up at 30. What are you up at 31?
Something like that.
It's crazy. Don't make no daggone sense.
But they won by 28.
Yeah, shout out to UConn. Hey, what can you say?
Yeah, what can you say? They are filthy with it, man. That whole lineup, man. The Huskies, Sanogo, and those cats are straight balling. And I really thought that game yesterday would be a lot closer. But they just, they took him out. Timmy had to go to the bench. The rest of the team was seeking to get for Gonzaga. They were getting out hustled the second they crossed the half court stripe, and the guys just balled out, man, for UConn. But they're on a crazy run because they are like, you think about a team who didn't even win where they finished. I think fourth in their conference. They didn't even play in the Big East title game. You see what I'm saying? But then they get in this tournament and they out here just doing their thing, man. Hawkins and crew, they crazy. They are crazy. So if there's a team that every team that is left in this thing should be afraid of, it is the UConn Huskies, man. They're ridiculous.
Yeah, well, I guess we shall see on Saturday evening, afternoon, evening. Next time we'll see UConn. I guess they're facing off against Florida.
Yeah, they're waiting the winner of the Miami Texas game today.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, they're waiting the winner of the Miami Texas game, and then we saw Florida Atlantic put that thing on K-State. Well, and it was a good game. Good game all the way down. Florida Atlantic won the game 79-76. Another team you got to watch, though. They don't impress me the way that nobody's impressed me the way UConn has impressed me this entire tournament. But Florida Atlantic can still be playing. Like, we're not used to really hearing Florida Atlantic as much on the basketball sense. They keep a pretty decent, they're that football team that 9-3, you know what I'm saying? That 9-3 team or whatever, 8-4. They're a pretty good football team, football school. But this basketball team did their thing against K-State, and they're awaiting the winner of a game that, if you're looking at the matchups, I don't know how much you've seen them this year, but man for man, the matchups could be as good as the game they played against K-State yesterday. So San Diego State and Creighton. You see what I'm saying? Both of these teams match up man for man really well. And we're talking about a 5th seed and a 6th seed. And I told you I'm going to be out for a little bit. So I'm hoping to get back in, if I time it right, by what I got going on. I'm thinking we may be back by the second half. We'll see. I'm hoping to get back to see that. But that San Diego State Creighton game ought to be good.
What did you think about the end of the Florida Atlantic Kansas State game and Noel and this
9-shot thing?
Yeah,
I think he was trying to get the ball to, what's name? He know old boy could shoot. You know what I'm saying? And I think he was thinking that if I get it to him, maybe he's gonna have a better shot at this thing. I know he look at it now like, damn, man, maybe I should have shot it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but because
at no point he looked like he was going to shoot it.
Yeah, like in his mind, and then I don't know if something that was in his mind from the jump or that was something that was told to me. They're gonna be on you as soon as you come across that court or whatever, and maybe even double you. If you see him give it to me, I don't know what was said, but I agree with you. It doesn't seem like that there was at any point during that whole deal that he was actually going to that he was going to actually shoot the ball.
Yeah, I've seen people say, well, we saw Brock posted in a group after the game, what was Noel doing? And this morning, actually my man Rob said that it was not the time for Noel to give up the ball. He should have kept and shot it. And I also saw former high school coach and current assistant at Richard Bland, Bo Jones, former VCU standout as well on the court. Bo Jones said he thought that he said Noel was being doubled or guarded, and it was being doubled, pretty much being doubled. And he was thinking that Noel was giving the ball up to go get it back. To think that he'd have a more open shot if he got it back, as opposed to the double team that was on him at the time. I thought he was giving it up to the shooter, and that's what it was. It was odd timing. But I mean, it's crunch time. If he just, I guess nobody would have been at his neck if he had thrown up a shot that looked bad because he was the
No,
star. And he
no.
just had a great game, 20 and 19, 20 points, 19 assists, breaking the tournament assist record last game. So I don't know that anybody would have been mad if he had fired that joint up. Plus, he shoots from 35 feet away anyway. So I don't know if anybody would have been mad. It was just an odd ending and a tough way to go out for Kansas State.
Definitely a tough way to go out, man. Definitely a tough way to go out. At least we got a thrilling game out of it. I should have
Right.
thought about it, man. We haven't had Bo on since we started going live and visual. So, we interviewed him years ago. Um,
Yeah. And
yeah, yeah.
and I
So,
interviewed him on
word.
Source and Company as well.
I write that down for next year. We got to bring Bo and some basketball people on during the tournament, right? So
That's a
it's
good, yeah,
great.
good idea.
Overall, a great tournament, man. I know a lot of people who are not going to be outside in these streets today will be tuned into these games. I mean, got a couple things popping off early. Then we got a slew. We got some stuff popping off in the evening too. And if you do go out, beautiful day in the 804 though, and wherever you are, man, this is one of those days I would love to be. Maybe even sitting on somebody's patio with the TV out there. You know what I'm saying? And the
Yeah.
drinks flowing to watch this stuff. Catch this breathe. So, but shout out to all the teams that are still left. Now, shout out to Dan Hurley. We were just talking about UConn and everything, but it's just 5 short years ago when he took over the program. People wondered what type of coach he was going to be. Could he ever live up to that crazy legacy that Calhoun left there, which was great to see him at a couple of these games, actually out there in the audience watching them play. But Calhoun brought these people, 3 titles during his career, 4 Final Four appearances, I believe, 3 titles. Heck of a percentage there. But Dan Hurley in 5 short years, it looks like he's got this team going in the right direction. So shout out to all
Indeed.
you
Indeed.
people out here in the Sports Bar Podcast group, man. I didn't know, but now I know. So shout out to all of you guys. Brian, what's up? What's up, my guy? Um, so like I said, Florida Atlantic waits on the winner of today's San Diego State and Creighton game. So that'll be their matchup, in the Final Four. And UConn, of course, awaits the winner of Miami and Texas, which will also go down later today. Something else happened, and of course, we were going to talk about it anyway. But it was brought up in the group because UConn's women went down yesterday, right? They went down yesterday. And respectfully, I should respect all the comments from everybody. I understand that women's basketball is not everybody's cup of tea, right? And then there's some who just will not get involved until we get, there's not a good men's game on or we get down here to the that's just your thing, right? But people sometimes act like UConn can't lose, as if they just don't win. Like they just won it last year or something. In reality, they haven't won it all since 2016, I believe it is. But they are consistent, a very consistent Final Four team. They had 14 straight Final Fours until that streak was broken yesterday. All right. But it made me think about something that I did a short on about a month or two ago about Geno. And the consensus to a lot of people, and I read a couple of comments in the group, and then some other people that I talked to, that Geno just needs to go and hang it up. And I'm kind of baffled by that comment, by that way of thinking. And the reason I say that is, yes, I do think that would it surprise me if Geno was to come out 2 weeks from now and said he's gonna hang him up? No, he's been doing this thing for a very long time, right? One of the greatest ever to do this thing, arguably the greatest in the women's game ever. Now it might not even be an argument, right? But by the same token, and people just saying that he's just washed and he's done, I don't 100% buy that point. I may buy the point that certain aspects of the game have gotten away from him, but I don't 100% buy the point that Geno is washed up and he just needs to hang it up like right now.
Yeah, I think that's an overstatement, but that's what happens when you lose earlier than usual and earlier than expected, even this season. Even though UConn has dealt with a lot of a lot of injuries, a lot of injuries. And of course, it used to be, it felt like everybody, just about everybody, went to UConn. It ain't like that no more. It's not. It's not like that anymore. And it's not even necessarily the number one landing spot for players. And it's been, like I said, it's been that way for how many years? 20 plus years, more than 20 years. Um, where UConn was like, if UConn wasn't in your top your list of teams recruiting you, then people won't really. It wasn't that serious. It wasn't that serious, and everybody, UConn used to be 1 through 12, however many players on the team. Nice. That's what it was. Anybody coming off the bench is still gonna be nice, but it's not as much that way anymore, and that's better for the game. It's a positive attribute to the women's game overall because more schools are big time, women's college basketball landing spots, and you see people going to different places from, you know, still to Tennessee. Tennessee's always going to be in the mix, but South Carolina, obviously, we see LSU, um, a lot of places aside from UConn. So I think Geno's fine. I wouldn't be surprised, like you said, wouldn't be surprised if and when he chooses to hang him up because I don't know how old Geno is, but he ain't young and he's been doing it for a long time.
He's up there. I'll say this, and he made some very good points, and I want to shout out a couple of our guys. So Rock actually started one of the comments in the group on it, and he jumped a little bit, I think, when he was saying that it's about him hanging up. He's one of the guys talking about hanging him up, and I know he was just being spirited, right? Respect, but saying it's Don's time now. I think we do realize Don and are doing something that is truly phenomenal. And it's like my guy, I just spoke to him the other day. He called me the other day, Lee Murray. Lee called me. We were talking about some things, but Lee also stated in the group yesterday, one of the posts, that it's the bench. You kind of touched on that 1 through 12. If you look at a Don Staley, this was a brilliant assessment by Lee. If you look at Don Staley, she not only recruits that starting five, she recruits that bench. Geno, it seems like, it's been able to get that starting five, and that's about where it stops, right? If you look over the past few years, you can go back probably the last 4 or 5 seasons. It's been the same way. The thing with a Don Staley is Don Staley's teams this year, as I've mentioned to you, and I've probably seen all of maybe 5 of their games the entire season. Their bench has had several games where they've outscored the starters. For a lot of reasons, the ebbs and flows of the game. But so the bench is crazy. Not everybody can say that. But as far as Geno, I think he's fine. Like I say, if they were to say that he was going to hang this thing up 2 weeks from now, I wouldn't be surprised. If he's to come out and say next year is his last year or whatever, I wouldn't be surprised. The only thing, I take it back. It may surprise me a small bit this year. And the only reason I say that, as was mentioned, we all know that Paige Beckers, he didn't have Paige Beckers, right, this year. She's had, was injured again, and she was on the bench. Various stints he didn't have AZ Fudd. So we never got to see her for a full season. And there was a couple of games that they played. They had to postpone the game because they were short on players between injuries and illness. I remember them playing someone this year where they literally had 7 players that could go. They could go. They listed it at 8, but they knew they did that, like knowing that the 8th man would only get in there. It had to have been an absolute crazy, scenario for that person to play because that person was coming off an injury. But I think Geno is fine. Certain aspects of the game may have creeped by. We see this with some of even the men's game, when they get to hollering about certain calls they're not getting and, the physicality of the game. I've criticized Geno for that. But the dude still is the best ever. He still has a hell of a coaching staff. That coaching staff is crazy. And whenever he does hang him up, I'm interested to see who gets that job. Just like I did when Coach K went out at Duke. Who they going to give this job to? You know what I'm saying? Or as we saw more recently in the Notre Dame situation. But I think he's fine. But the only thing that would really surprise me about him retiring this season, and I think about it, is this squad is only had two seniors, and only one senior is a starter. Lulu Lopez was a starter. All of those players come back. You got Fudd coming back. Hopefully for them, they get Paige Beckers, back and healthy. She says she's ready to go. Their leader was Aaliyah Edwards, right? Aaliyah Edwards was a junior this year. Phenomenal player, All-American. Nico Mule. All of those players come back for that squad. So they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. I'm not saying they're going to win a title, but we can't just put them to bed because they didn't make the Final Four this year. They're going to open up as one of the top 5, maybe the top 3 teams in the entire country next year, just off the basis of who's coming back. Nobody wants that smoke.
Speaking of the ladies, how you feeling?
I'm good. I'm
I'm just checking on you from yesterday.
Oh, I'm about to get to that.
Okay.
But I'm gonna end off with saying, though, is your comment that you made about the recruits, right? Which I was telling the guys yesterday. Tell you something crazy. So we're talking about them still getting recruits, but other people are getting them. So do you understand that as of right now, the way that the rankings are slated right now, they have the number 6 recruit coming in, and that's the only top 10 recruit that they have next year. Camaro Arnold's coming in. Then they got the number 15. But you're talking about those recruits going to other programs. This is crazy. LSU, right? LSU has 2 of the top 10 recruits in the country coming in next year. Carol Lawson's Duke squad's got 1. Niall Ivy, she's got 1. Stanford's got 1. South Carolina has none, but they have 2 in the top 20. Now, trust me when I tell you, they're a squad that doesn't matter if they have a top 10 player right now. You see what I'm saying? Because of what they have coming back, they'll lose. Of course, they'll lose Boston, but what they have coming back is ridiculous. So they can afford not to have a top 10 player. But the number 1 player in the country, Juju Watkins, is staying home. And if you have not seen her, I'm telling you, people, go to YouTube. I'm trying to tell you, Shorty is ridiculous. She's staying home in California to play for her childhood team, USC. She is a baller. So if you haven't heard, you heard it here first. Go look up Juju Watkins. Ridiculous. But she's going to USC. You know what I'm saying? None of these other programs that we're used to seeing play all the time. But your comments on how I'm feeling yesterday, of course, of the Lady Vols, I'm good. I'm good. Lady Vols, if anybody knows me, know I'm a huge Lady Vols fan. 2 teams I follow regardless. I've always been a Lady Vols fan, and I always follow Don Sterling. Even before the South Carolina days, I followed their Temple. Just because of, was so crazy about her as she was going up. I just wanted to see her do well. But, yeah, Tennessee goes down yesterday. And heck of a season for the Lady Vols, all things considered. You don't see many. We can go back the past few years maybe because they haven't been, ever since Pat Summitt, retired and she left the program for health reasons. And then Holly Warlick came in. They weren't quite the same towards the end and then after Pat was gone. So they had some struggles. They would lose a couple of recruits here and there. They've had a crazy injury history these past 4 or 5 years. It always seemed to be one of their best players or potential starter, probably 4 of the last 5 years. Had somebody go down. They had this year, Tamari Key, the center, who already last year passed Candace Parker in the blocks department, right? She's all-time leading blocks. You know what I'm saying? As a junior, maybe got in 7 games this year before they shut her down for blood clot reasons. So they lost 11 games this year. But to make it this far, after the way they started, a potential top 5 team to falling off the map quickly in the first month of the season due to a lot of things. Tamari Key's situation didn't help. They had a couple of other players go out, one never to return. To get this far was phenomenal. And then they lost to a great team. People don't watch college basketball, but they don't understand, especially this season, how good Virginia Tech has been. Like Virginia Tech and Coach Brooks have been on fire. It's the second time they beat Tennessee this year, but they've been putting everybody on notice. Their size is crazy. The way they shoot from the outside is crazy, and they're one of the best second chance teams when it comes to second chance opportunities off the boards that I've seen in quite some time. So no shame in losing to a number one seed, man. And Virginia Tech, I know we talking South Carolina, and nobody expects South Carolina to lose, and I hope not. But watch Virginia Tech. So it's how many times, excuse me, bro, how many times this season have you been able to watch Virginia Tech play this year? Like, have you seen Virginia Tech play many times this season?
Yeah, I've seen them a couple times this year, and they've been impressive. I was surprised they were a number one seed, though. I was surprised they were number one, but uh,
Jay, what's up, cuzzo?
and it's funny that I don't know what I was watching. I think it was during the game. I think it was during the game, or maybe after the game, uh, with Monica McNutt and L. Duncan. I think they said that Virginia. I think it was Virginia Tech was the fourth out of the teams that were left yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Virginia Tech was the fourth highest of the teams left expected to make it to the Final Four, but they were at 49%. Like it was a 49% chance, and from the beginning, I'm like, dog, it was a number one seed. Like, so they're still not expected by half of the people that voted across the country to make it to the Final Four. They're one game away at this point. And my oldest, she's hype because she was a cheerleader at Virginia Tech. My youngest actually has followed the Virginia Tech women's team for years for whatever reason. Like probably because Kelsey was there. That's part of it. So she's hype as well. So yeah, it was good to see Virginia Tech come out on top, and they play Ohio State tomorrow night. So that ought to be a good one.
Yeah, it's going to be a very good game. So today we have South Carolina and today we have Miami and LSU. Yeah, right. Miami and LSU today. The Miami women still at it. I mean, they still at it.
It's going to be a lot of reckless talk, and that in both games today, there's going to be a lot of reckless talk.
You think it ain't? I wouldn't expect anything different. And LSU, of course, coming off that close victory the other night against Utah, which they was this close. I was like, oh man, they going out already. So that's going to be a heck of a game. And then we got Louisville and Caitlin Clark and them in Iowa, ought to be another good one. So those two go down today, and then tomorrow, that is wow. That's a hell of a lineup tomorrow. Virginia Tech and Ohio State, tough. We talk about the matchups when I was talking about the men and the way that San Diego State and Creighton match up,
right?
Man for man, this is another matchup. If you go player for player, woman for women, they match up very well at all five positions. Like there's some likeness there. So I'm anxious to see that. Tech and Ohio State, like of course tomorrow, and South Carolina and Maryland. Wow, Brenda Freese, another top five coach in the country, in my opinion. Right. Maryland keeps a good program. Could you imagine if they could have kept Angel Reese in Maryland?
Right.
That'd been crazy. I mean, because Brenda Freese keeps the squad, bro. She keeps a squad. She lost a couple of girls this year to the transfer portal. One was a starter. One was, I guess you could say, was a starter. She played a lot of minutes, and here they are. They still here. So shout out to them. So the women's Final Four will be Friday. So that's going to be crazy. Then they're going to crown the women's champion on Sunday. Then of course, the men will be Saturday, and we crown the champion on Monday. So we got a lot going on next weekend. We'll be flowing right into baseball opening day, and then of course we've got this basketball action, which is going to be lit.
Yes, indeed.
So, you got any final thoughts on the basketball before we hit this other topic?
My bracket's a shot. Oh, my women's bracket though. I wish I was in a contest in the women's bracket.
Mhm.
I'm sitting on 700 right now. 700 points on the ESPN joint.
Okay, fire.
Yeah, I'm like this joke
And
crazy.
get some.
I need this in the men's side, but no, but no.
Quick question I want to ask you, and I have a whole lot of thoughts on it, but I remember over time people would post certain things in the group, um, and you would. This is a subject that you would comment on from here, your feelings on it. But we just got news that Ben Simmons being shut down for the season. So as the world turns, or the Ben Simmons world turns, is this would anybody be jumping the gun to say that at this point, honestly, now, source, that he's done?
So
I know your
sad.
feelings on it initially, but is it fair to say that he's done now?
It's a sad, sad situation. It's sad, man. Sad. I had high hopes for Ben Simmons. I thought that he might be one of those players who didn't have to score. I mean, he has been at times one of those players who didn't have to score to have an effect on the game. Like he did everything else, everything between injuries and mental uh, fortitude. I I wouldn't be surprised, but I would not. I don't expect it. I would hope not. I hope not. I hope he's gonna come back and try again. But hey, who am I to say? That
Maybe
man's
we
been
can
through a
try
lot, whether you
again.
like him or not. He's been through a lot, and it is what it is.
Ricky, what's going on, bro? My man Ricky Whitfield is in the mix. Bad Ben, man. Mm. You think about it, so if they do shut him down for the season, he will have only played in about 49-50% of the games this year, like making all that green. And then here we are with something else, with a whole nother issue. I think he said he has maybe some nerves or something bothering him in his back. So if you take the physical and the mental, this doesn't look good. Talking about a guy, I think he should have 2 more seasons on that contract if I'm correct. And the question is going to be, unless something miraculous happen, what's next? Is he going to be in the G League? Like, I mean, I ain't trying to be funny. I'm being real. This guy was
Yeah,
averaging 15, 15, 7, and 7. When he's in Philly, he gets over here, he's averaging 6, and then his assistant rebounds have dropped. So I don't know, man. Like, I just don't know. You know, I just don't know. So, but me, I would say I'm not a betting man, but I'd be lying. I am a betting man. You know me, I'm always about to come back and see what I told you. I don't know how many chances I can keep giving, dude. Though, it might be over, bro. In a
I'm,
sense of us expecting, you know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna keep hope alive. I'm gonna keep hope alive a little bit, a
A
little
little
hope,
bit.
a little bit of hope.
Yeah. Someone says he needs a sports psychologist. I don't know what type of help that he's getting. And if it's something else that he needs, I hope he gets it. But they say that if the reports are true, certain types of assistance he's refused, or he's been real, I don't want to say nonchalant about it, but a lot of people are saying that he's not willing to take the type of assistance that's being offered to him.
Mm.
Um,
You hate to see it.
he's going to stay in the league at the minimum. I can't see another big contract coming. Even like he done made a lot of loot. Is he the one that asked him for the money back for the ring though? For the girl? I don't know. It's somebody in the league that ain't getting married. They proposed to Shorty. Then all of a sudden they didn't want to get married, and she don't. And they done broke up, and he want the ring back, and she don't want to give it back. I'm trying to remember was that Ben Simmons or not.
Are they supposed to give it back?
That's a good question. You know what? We're lucky we don't have any of our first ladies on here today. Because I would have loved to have, like, let me tell you what. I don't know if we could ever get Lisa on here. It might never happen. But we get like her, Bernice, have a conversation about the player is he supposed to get his ring back if he ain't gonna marry the short? Like, in general. I would try to keep it sports or because we end up talking, we be talking something else before it's all over with.
Talking life.
We said they always try to keep the ring when it don't work out. I mean, I ain't judging.
It was a gift.
I ain't judging. I mean, I might have been the one that might have need that money.
I'm just trying to sell that junk.
I ain't disrespecting the ladies. I might be the one that would take that joint and pawn it off, but it is what it is. Here we go. My man Bruce Parker. 2 words. He said your man's gonna be overseas.
Overseas, aka I'm going home. I'm going home. Tell the world that I'm going home.
No doubt. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with Ben. But I just wanted to bring that up because I know over time you've had some feelings about the whole thing. But we got a couple of more quick topics before we get out of here.
So sad.
Those of y'all jumped on. It was a little shorter than normal today. I got some things to do. So I'm gonna be out of here so I can hustle back and catch this basketball action. So, but 2 things. First thing we're gonna talk about, man, is why aren't teams calling Lamar Jackson? And is it just the money? Is it just the fact of it? Is there other things involved? Why do you think teams are not calling for Lamar? Because he's got that non-exclusive thing going on, so teams can negotiate with him, right? Or he can negotiate with teams, try to find a deal, and then Baltimore decides what they want to do.
It's a CON conspiracy.
You think?
Between the league and the owners not wanting to give the players more power, throw in the agents, man representing himself. It's a whole lot of power struggles within this issue. They ain't trying to let that man win. They ain't trying to let that man win. You know what it is?
What is?
It is I ain't going to say it because I don't feel like, but it's the mentality that we got to keep them in their place. Got to keep them in their place. We can't give them too much. We can't, what's the word? I don't know why I'm thinking coalesce. That ain't right. We can't give in to his requests, his wants, his expectations, even though one would say that he's already lived up to the expectations. He's surpassed expectations by far. Y'all the same people that said this man should go to wide receiver or something.
Yeah,
it's the MVP of the league. Wait, what? They're trying to keep that. Like I don't know what he's doing on his side. I can't say, but I definitely think it's bigger than. Well, we ain't calling Lamar because who, in the words of J.J. Watt, why is everybody being so public about not being interested in Lamar Jackson? It don't make no sense.
So Danny Dimes ain't won shit. And they took a month to sign him. It only took a month. Hey, Rick said they trying to get him for the low, and they think because he doesn't have an agent, he's going to give in. I've heard that. I've heard that as well. And they got a guy who supposedly was a Ken Francis, supposed to have been calling around to talk to teams, when as they're denying that that's happening, but he's kind of saying that he's unofficially representing Lamar, but he can't do that because he's not recognized by the Players Association as a accredited agent. So the NFL put the word out to teams that you cannot negotiate with him because he's not recognized by the league. Has Lamar played himself to this point? I don't know. Somebody tried to tell me, if I'm Lamar, I'm gonna pull a Le'Veon Bell. I'm not gonna play. Man, that ain't gonna be smart, man. So think about this: if he's not getting that type of money now, what makes y'all think that he's gonna get that money after he sit out a year?
I ain't gonna lie, I had the same thought,
bruh. So I say ain't gonna pay him. You think a year from now somebody's gonna be willing to pay him? They ain't trying to pay him now unless somebody gets 100% crazy desperate. Something crazy happens, and in the off season, I don't see it happening. He gonna mess around. What's the tag for him? So be 32 million. It'd be 32 million. He will have to play on. Yeah, if he doesn't, they don't make a move this year. If he doesn't find somebody else and they don't make a move with him this year. I ain't mad at 32 million, but
I mean, it's easy for us to say we ain't mad at 32 million, but it's all
yeah.
in comparison to what's actually happening in the league as opposed to our struggles.
Well, yeah. Somebody said can be more match any off. They can do all that. They can
Yep.
definitely do all that. But what you would hope with Lamar, not that they have to give any demand that he said, but what you want to hope is not one of those situations whereas the relationship gets so strained for whatever reason that he doesn't want to play there anymore. And even though you don't have to trade him and his choice would be to play for y'all or just don't play, it's just, you just imagine, what the morale would be around the team and his feelings, about that organization. I don't know, people be like, forget your feelings, but, it don't look good. If he's a leader of the team, in most cases, the quarterback is the leader, one of the leaders. You want the morale around your organization to be a good one. So
He'll be fine.
We'll see. Fine. So maybe we hear something in the next few days as we're waiting for the finalizing of Aaron Rodgers, which y'all are panicking over. I don't know why. They got time. They have time. So
season start in May.
We got time. They just adding over to the nice little receiving core over there already, and they got time. And they might be adding something else. OBJ didn't put out there he want to go over there now. So we gonna see. I know people's all up in arms about the Elijah. Why you get rid of Elijah Moore?
Yeah.
I'm like, don't get me wrong, dude, nice and everything. Right. But you acting like they bought over a bunch of scrubs. Like Elijah Moore is nice, right? But then you bring over, of course, Lazard, which, if nothing else, he's going to give you that, somewhat of a deep threat. Aaron Rodgers comfortable with him. That's all that matters. Yep. He played ball Elijah Moore. You feel me? McCole Hardman, no, he ain't really. Okay, McCole Hardman can play receiver and special teams. Are we asking receivers? Name me a team now that doesn't have a receiver that's in their top 4 to 5 receivers that don't play special teams. That's like a requirement in the league now.
I'd like to point out that Zach Pascal actually was and is on the Eagles special teams. Matter of fact, you may have seen him. He is the person that missed that tackle on the punt return in that game that we shall not discuss any further. Okay, just point that out.
So you don't want to discuss it?
Nope. Nope. Okay. No thanks. I'm good.
Got a real quick Laker fans. They just upgraded Bron to questionable for the night.
I'm not going to point out that the Lakers are 7-3 in their last 10 games. I ain't going to point that out.
You should. Because I'm seeing a lot of Laker talk around the group about, you know what, I wasn't with this, but now they're already talking about next year, and not next year because they don't think y'all going to make it. They're already talking about who y'all going to resign because they like this energy all of a sudden.
No. Don't act like that now.
I mean, don't act like that now. I just, put my ear in it real quick and dip out, but
Me too. Me too.
Last topic, then we got to run. What do you are we selling the Panthers short? And I know we were talking football about a week or two ago, and we were talking about the teams in that division. But quietly, the Carolina Panthers have actually made some moves. Now, I don't think it's any moves that it's going to blow anybody out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
But just as we're talking about them shipping everybody off, they've quietly made some moves. They bring your guy, Miles Sanders, there, right? They added Adam Thielen. A couple of days ago, they added DJ Chalk. Chalk is a solid 2 or 3, depending on how your team is made up. This question really now is the quarterback. I mean, Andy Dalton is there, but they're sitting there right there at the top with that pick. They could come away with a quarterback. So I don't know. I think maybe we crapped on them a little bit, as far as just how bad or not good they may be. I think these moves are solid.
Jake Delhomme is not walking through that door. I'm just playing. Just playing. Eh, eh. I
It's
really.
just a thought, but so you
Eh.
got to look at it like this, bro. Let's look at let's go down the line in that division. We've already given the Saints their props, and I remember I was the one that was saying, I said, well, look, they pretty solid. The division is there for them to win. All you
Play
got the
taken.
division,
Mm-hmm.
right? I told you I love what the Falcons have done so far in free agency. They've got some solid pickups there. Picked up, Jonnu Smith. They picked up Jesse Bates. They picked up some solid football players. You got the Bucks with your favorite player, Baker Mayfield, playing quarterback, your guy.
Woo!
I'm saying, I mean, what do we really expect them to do? And then you got the Panthers. I think solidly, with the moves that they've made, the Carolina Panthers, I would have them right now probably contending for the second spot in the division at least.
Based on Andy Dalton?
I think, put it this way, say what you want to about Andy Dalton. And I know Cowboy fans are ready to crap on him. Andy, this, that. But if you watch Andy, part of that was Andy Dalton. Part of it was just was your boy who's over at Caesar's team now, right? If you watch last year, he actually had some good games here and there for the Saints. So you bring a veteran presence over there with two veteran receivers in that division, which is there to be had. I mean, it might not be bad. Might not be bad. You don't think he can go over there and outdo Baker Mayfield, man?
No comment, man. No comment.
That's your guy, no?
Yeah, me and Baker, we like this.
So let's keep an eye on the Panthers, man. That's all I'm saying. They finished 7-10 last year. On a team with that messy quarterback situation last year. No Christian McCaffrey. And they managed to go 7-10 in that division. I mean, the Bucks won that division at 8-9. The team who were picking to win it, well, I'm picking to win it, the Saints. Before the Derek Carr move, won 7 games. Remember, that was a division that the Bucks won it at 8-9, and everybody else was 7-10. So I'm just saying we may need to keep an eye on Carolina just a little bit.
Remember this moment. Prime said it.
We about to get out of here. You got anything for the people?
It's the last week of Women's History Month, International Women's Month, however you talk about it. And if you catch me on TikTok, I will be doing a last week, Women's Day, Women's Month mix type thing. All women, all hip hop, obviously. Even though I did all women's R&B this morning, but all women hip hop at some point this week, Tuesday or Thursday, more than likely, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. And also, I was out yesterday, and I know I was out earlier during the week, and I saw B-Dubs at Shore Pump, but I went by there yesterday.
Closed.
Yeah,
I saw it. I saw it.
Grand closing.
Saw somebody put it in one of the Richmond Eat groups or whatever, something like that. So, yep, they up out of there. No nothing to stay around anymore, bro.
Tough.
With Carol's 170 out of there. So it is what it is. So shout out to everybody. Shout out to all my John Wick 4 people. It is John Wick weekend. Everybody seems to be loving it because John Wick is that guy. And also, I just want to say rest in peace, Uncle Jerome. Most of y'all know what that means. If you don't know, ain't my problem. We done gave y'all days to turn on your fire stick. So it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? The old, my G went out like an OG or vice versa. It is what it is. So, but we hope everyone out here enjoys their Sunday. Hope you have a fabulous day, and we're gonna catch y'all on the next one. Basketball, baby. We out.